welcome to CEC Gurukul Lectures. Dear friends, this is our session on career counseling called Pratibha Samvardhan, and today we are talking on research writing. We are talking on the importance of research writing, and we believe that you are going to get maximum knowledge as we have with us in our studios Ms. Kirti Dikshit, and Ms. Dikshit is going to give you deep insight. She is a psychologist herself. She is pursuing her PhD in psychology, as well as she is working with Jatin Chawla Center for Career, and her persistent efforts taking herself to the heights, and she believes in taking you to the right path too. Friends, if you have any questions pertaining to today's topic, do call us. Our toll-free number is 1-800-110-430. I repeat, our number is 1-800-110-430. So let's welcome our guests, Ms. Kirti Dikshit. Hello ma'am, welcome to the lecture.
Thank you for the warm welcome. Okay, now the methodology, as we discussed, is first the sample size that you would want to work on. Let's say you are a very keen enthusiast and you would want to choose 1,000 people to work on, which would be a great idea, honestly, and of course a lot of commitment. Okay, and now after you select the number of people that you would want to work on, the next idea is what exactly is the data that you would want to find out of it. Now, let's say I would want to find if use of AI is increasing, is consumer behavior getting changed in a positive manner or in a negative manner? Now, that kind of data comes out by correlation. Now, let's say I would want to know a detailed view of, let's say, how strong is it? Does it increase only because of this is increasing, or is there any other variable that is affecting this or not? That kind of data can be computed through regression. Now, of course, we have a lot of different more approaches in terms of ANOVA, multiple ANOVAs and things like that. But for simplicity of research writing, I'll be focusing more on correlation or regression and simpler things for your easy understanding. Right? Now, let's say you got your sample size as 100 people. You fixed AI and consumer behavior. You got those tests filled by 100 people. Now, what do? Would you manually just sit and score each of them? No. I mean, now that we have AI so strong, we have so many tools. So earlier we used to work on this tool called SPSS. Honestly, in my undergrad, we had a training or a tutorial workshop on this from the experts. It was a good 3-hour workshop where, there were specific systems where, you're allowed only to put this kind of data here, this kind of data here, yaha ye command, waha wo command, and only then it will give you the results that you would need. And of course, there were a lot of, let's say, complications and limitations and confusions in terms of, learning a new software, which is not very, 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 if I may say, easy for us to handle, at least as a new undergrad student in psychology. Right, but now with ChatGPT coming in and other tools coming in, there's also this language that's coming new, that's R language. A lot of tech students would focus on that. I see a lot of psychology students and other folks also learning this rigorously. I mean, if you are looking at research writing in analysis where, you would want to love to get into corporate culture, this is something that you should actually focus on. I mean, it's a bit difficult to learn in terms of taking some time, but if you are interested, I mean, it's an amazing experience to work on it. So, after you're done with your methodology, you get to know that, hey, let's say AI and consumer behavior are related. If use of AI is increasing, use of consumer behavior is also increasing in a positive manner, let's say. Right? Now you go ahead with the next section, that is called the conclusion section. Now, some of us would just think of conclusion as a 4-liner that ends the topic or maybe the article. But no, conclusion of a research paper is basically a summary of not only the findings but also the entire research paper. The limitations that I was talking about previously, while I was talking about choosing the particular right topic for your research, is something that you add in the conclusion section. Now, why, how and where and what would you add in the conclusion section is very important. One, you start with giving a very brief gist of of course the variables, then the findings that you got. So the numeric results that you would be getting for your correlation or your regression or any other method that you are doing is one integral aspect of conclusion. But very important is explanation of whatever data you have got. So for example, you told me that conclusion is correlation is there, it's positive, maybe there is some numerical value also, but then what do I do of that? What conclusion am I making? What inference should I take out? As somebody who is, let's say, somebody in a corporate trying to research more ki whether we should incorporate AI in terms of understanding our consumer behavior. If they read your research paper, they just get to know कि हाँ positively correlated है. What else? I mean, what valid information am I giving to the reader is very important. So conclusion is where you get into the dearth of whatever practical implications we can get out of our research paper. Basically, somebody who just wants to take the fruit out of your research paper will take the conclusion section and they'll work on it. So that's the idea of the conclusion aspect. So while you are looking at reading research papers, a nice idea could be reading the abstract and reading the conclusion. Alright. Another interesting and very crucial aspect of this conclusion section is limitations, as discussed previously as well. Now, as a writer or as a researcher, it's very important for you to find what exactly is an improvement that we can have more in this area. So if let's say I did a sample size of 100 from Delhi NCR, maybe a detailed complex review of let's say 10,000 people from different areas of India could be another idea for the next researcher to work on. So basically here what you're doing is you're giving your next researcher a new idea for them to work on, right? So this was it about the conclusion section. Last we come down to the references section. Now references is basically a particular set format given by APA. You can't just write references, take references taken from this website or maybe references taken from this review of paper. No, there is particular format that is given by the APA. If you want to look at the entire formatting structure, you can go to the APA website. They have this entire document where you'll get to know and you can read everything about it. Right? Apart from this, there are also tools which will help you write the exact APA format for whatever website. Let's say you are researching from research papers, or let's say you are researching from a book, or maybe you are taking a reference of an image, right? You don't have to do it manually these days. You can now, so you can just go to ChatGPT and just tell it to you, change it to the APA format. Earlier there were tools like turn it to APA reference generator and things like that. Alright, so this was it about the research paper. Now, talking about the abstract. Now, the abstract section is very important. Why is this important? Is because it gives you a basic gist of what have you written. Right? It basically combines one, what is your topic of research. It's basically 100-150 words ka paragraph where you're just telling ki, hey, this is my topic of research. I've worked on 100 people. I've used correlation, and one liner is basically we have got a positive correlation between, let's say, AI and consumer behavior. So this would be your abstract. Basically 3 to 4 liners, one from each category of the topics that we have discussed abhi tak. Alright. Another important aspect is keywords. Now, what is keywords and why do we need that? Now, keywords are very important. Why? Because if somebody would want to search about AI, it's very important for Google, it's very important for other platforms to map it to you. Right? You would want to find relevant readers for your research paper as well, right? So, for example, for this it could be correlation, AI, consumer behavior, whatever metrics you have used for maybe use of technology and things like that. Another would be if you have taken a sample size of 100, what age group have you taken? Have you taken adolescents? Have you taken adults? Have you taken college students or things like that? Or maybe you have taken a particular section of management students or maybe other category technological students and things like that. So this was about the abstract section. Then there is this interesting concept of publishing a research paper. Now, just like Ms. Gitika asked about how can students use this research paper. Of course, you can write a number of research papers, but how would the population get to know you're writing it? How do you get it to the entire public inventory is the road of publishing it. Now, how do you publish and why would you want to publish? The first answer to why is one, getting more exposure of your research. Second is professional recognition, so you get recognized more. These days, writers, a lot of researchers, they're also contributing to a number of researches. They get more enthusiasm and more race in terms of who is researching how many research papers. Right, and then of course we have career advancements, networking opportunities, and a number of things that you get when you look at publishing status. Right, and how do you publish your research paper is something that every student has a question for me. Right, first is to find a journal. It's very important for you to understand that every journal will not look at publishing your research paper. We have journals for different interests. Let's say you are working with social sciences, so you can just go on Google, you can search for social sciences ka journals. You can go on elsewhere, you can search, you can tell it your topic. It will help you identify what journals will help you. Right, and there is one very important distinction that you should look at when you're looking at journals. One, is this journal UGC approved or not? Is this journal Scopus listed or not? Now, why I'm telling you this is because you can just go ahead and, there are a lot of fake journals as well who will just extract some money out of you. They'll publish it over internet, but the idea is to get professionally advanced. The idea is to get recognized for the work and the efforts that we are putting in. Right, so initially if you are working as a beginner researcher, if I would say that you should focus on UGC approved journals. You can get the list on the UGC website. It's very clearly available. It gets updated every year, so feel free to have a look at it. Right, and then find your interest area wala journal. You can either look through it on Google or maybe a ChatGPT, or maybe you can go on Science Direct website, tell it your topic, and it will help you find the journals. You can also similarly do it for elsewhere and other websites too. So they are helping you find the exact journals that you would want. As an advanced researcher, I mean, anybody would take pride in publishing a research paper in a journal that is Scopus listed. So that is also one thing, that if you want to advance your career in research writing, you should aim for Scopus listed journals. Right, and what happens when you look at publishing your research paper? Now, when you want to publish your research paper, one, you send them the abstract of the research paper. Right, if they're interested, they'll give you a call back. Maybe they'll just email, or however they want to communicate. They'll ask you for your entire research paper, and then they get on a process called a peer review. What happens is they have an entire team of experts sitting with them. They'll read your research paper. They'll analyze everything, right from grammatical mistakes to any methodological mistake to what kind of data is this data authentic or not, have you coded it properly or not. Right from the smallest thing to the largest thing, they will be looking at in your paper. That is called peer review. Now, after you're done with your peer review, you'll be getting an acceptance. Now, this acceptance could be through email or maybe a phone call that, hey, we would like to go ahead with the publication of your research paper. And a few of it would be paid, the best ones would be paid a lot more. I mean, they can usually, Scopus journals would take around 10,000 or more. UGC journals would, let's say, look at somewhere between 2,000 to 4,000 good journals. And of course, it depends on your topic and the journal you're looking at. I'm just giving you a brief idea what kind of cost you should look at. Of course, remuneration and the budget is very important when you look at your student life, right? So this is one thing. Now, how much time does it take? Is somewhere around, let's say, 1 to 6 months, specifically in UGC journals. Scopus journals usually take a lot of time. It might take, let's say, a good 8 to 9 months for them to even get back to you for the feedback of your research paper. Then peer review happens and things like that. So you need to be patient if you are looking at publishing your research paper. It's not like a day journey that you can just get over with it. Of course, you can have your own pace in terms of writing your research paper, but when you're looking at publications, it's very important for you to understand and be patient with the journals. Of course, and it's a good idea for you to follow up with them, but don't just keep following up every day. right? And I think publications will give you the recognition, especially in the academic area, but also in the organizational area. So my previous work experience speaks about an IT organization where, we had a lot of doctors working there. Why? Because even as an organization, we would love to have more experienced people, more people who are interested into research, who can get us insights, right? Why? Because today with AI coming in, every field is focused more on data. If we are on the top of data, we are on the top of our game. Right? Now, I would like to conclude this session with some tools, some AI tools that I think would be very helpful for you. One is Zotero, which will help you understand, analyze, and plan things. Of course, Grammarly, how can we forget? For any thing that, a typo or maybe a grammatical mistake or things like that. Third is the older tool SPSS, which we used to use. Now you can go ahead and use ChatGPT as well. It will help you formulate the results. A very advanced language is the R language that I mentioned previously as well. And for your sample collection, we have SurveyMonkey and things like that. But honestly, I believe Google Forms is something that is very easily accessible, reachable, more user friendly. So you can look at Google Forms. And of course, SurveyMonkeys if you think the user interface is much better and things like that. So this was about the tools and of course about the research writing. Any questions?
Would like to ask certain questions on behalf of the students who might be watching us right now or would be watching through the YouTube channel of ours, as we are going to upload this lecture on YouTube for our students. So because this session is specifically, I would say, for the entire student community as well as for the academicians too, or those people who are into research paper writing. Now the question is, the research topic is of great importance, and choosing a right topic becomes more important. So how one should choose a topic that it becomes beneficial for the entire community?
Right. So, I've stressed a lot about choosing the right research topic. However, it's very important for two things. One is to focus on what's happening now. But you should also keep in mind what is the scope of this. So, for example, let's say when this COVID time came, a lot of research is focused on COVID. However, when the COVID time was about to end, I believe ideas like these should not be your point of focus, because this is something that will look at a timeline. So, for example, next 4-5 years, nobody is going to research about COVID per se, right? They might look at implications, of course, but you should look at your topic from the perspective of present as well as future. What is trending right now? Will it be relevant in the next, let's say, 4 to 5 years? So that is one thing. Second is, of course, your interest. When you're looking at whether I would be occupied with this at least 4 hours a day, of course, you would want to keep your interests alive.
Wonderful. So how strong your questions to be, and what should be kept in mind while framing the questions?
Right. So your statement of question is also, of course, one important factor, right? I believe as a beginner level researcher, it's ideal for you to look at just two variables that you would want to research in terms of. Let's not get into the complexity before we are very clear with the basics. So let's start with two variables, and I think that will be a good start.
Definitely. Now, what is a difference between the primary and the secondary sources? Although we have discussed, but when we try to differ them out, how would you differ them?
Right. So primary research is basically, I would want to go to 10,000 people and get to know about their views on AI and consumer behavior. However, secondary research would be more in terms of, I would want to know in the past 10 years, what have people researched about AI and consumer behavior. Right. Basically, the idea is that you get a list of what was done previously in the secondary research, and you go and experiment and you meet those people, right? And you get that data out of it, and then you work on it. That is the primary research.
Definitely. Now, moving forward, as we have discussed about the plagiarism in detail, and plagiarism is one of the important things to be kept in mind while writing a paper, any kind of paper, I should say, because once your content is found to be plagiarized, it means it's a great, you are sacked out of the community. You are treated as if you have done a big crime. Yes, it's a big crime, because when you are stealing somebody's work. Now, how it could be avoided, and what are the grounds on which we consider that it is a plagiarized content?
So of course, just like you said, plagiarism is basically cheating and snatching somebody else's work. So yeah, I mean, of course, you will be looking at a lot of data. Whenever you're looking at data, you will have a lot of implications. One idea to remove plagiarism out of your content is whenever you think that this content paragraph, let's say you have this 5-liner paragraph that you think is relevant for your research, just copy and paste in your document wherever you're writing. Now what you do is, you look at the paragraph and you scroll it up and then you rewrite it. Now, when you're rewriting, you'll not only focus on what you just read, you'll focus on what all information you have read previously, what all information is already fed in your mind, and then you'll focus on writing. This will, one, not have an understanding that I've directly copied the data, you have your own information. Second, there is a particular section of information that needs to come as it is. So you can use a lot of tools like Humanizer. There are a lot of tools to check plagiarism also. That also you can use to understand. However, one thing you should always keep in mind as a student is, if your plagiarism is going to be checked tomorrow, ideally you should not check your plagiarism one day before. Otherwise it will be 100% plagiarized. So keep in mind.
Very true. And when it is your content, it means it's your content and you should take care about it for the years, for the ages, so that you could say that, yes, I own this content, yes, it's mine. Now, while selecting a research methodology, it is important for us also, as well as I would say your entire research writing is based on the type of methodology you have chosen. So to what extent do you believe that, yes, right methodology always helps you out in taking you to the right place, I mean in bringing the right conclusion at the end?
Just like I started methodology with the title of saying this is the jaan of the paper. I agree to that line again. See, your methodology can make or break your paper. If you're trying to find something and you got something else, you're trying to buy maybe something, potatoes, and you go and get bananas, makes no sense, right? So whatever you're looking at, if your methodology is aligned with that, so the idea is to find the best tool and the best method. So whether you should use correlation, regression, ANOVA is very important. Whether you should use SPSS or R language, what is more efficient is something you should focus on.
Very true. Though we have discussed the entire thing, the entire process of research writing and writing a research paper. Now, as we are heading towards the end of this session, my question to you is because research writing is a kind of part of the research, the entire research. Now, for all those who wanted to be in the area of research, are there career options open for them in the varied fields?
Of course. See, research writing in academics is a very different game than what we see it in a corporate culture. I come from a corporate culture background as well. So what I've seen is there is a lot of requirement. I mean, it's not even just business analysis. It's also rooted in basic teams. So for example, in my previous organization, we had an HR analytics team. Can you believe it? Of course, they would not go around do these secondary and primary researches on pen and paper, of course. They would have very extensive tools. But yes, there are a number of options. Another good option could be L&D. If you're good in research, you can sit with, let's say, a 10,000 members organization, and you can research more in terms of how can this team be better. Because as an employer, I would want my employees to grow.
Definitely.
And research could be not only in terms of data, but also in terms of finding the best things for the employees.
Definitely. So we would like to thank you for giving us this vivacious session where we learnt about how to write a research paper and how your research writing could be different. So dear friends, whatever you do in life, do at best be different, be what you are. We are going to upload this lecture on YouTube for you so that you can access this lecture the number of times you wanted. And yes, of course, afterwards, if you feel that you have certain question, if any query appears to be in your mind, let it be flow, because we are there to answer your queries. Do write to us at ccgurukul.live@gmail.com. We would be meeting again next Thursday. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.